Welcome to HCS Talks. I'm your host, Superintendent Raymond Haynes. If you're listening for the first time, this is the Hampton City Schools podcast. If it's important to students, parents, teachers, the community, or anything that has to do with education, we hope to cover it on HCS Talks. The goal is to inform, educate, and entertain you. So thanks for tuning in. Today, I'm sitting down with Trent Garrett and Jacob Young from Next Generation Storytellers. Jacob is an Emmy Award winner and 7-time nominee, known for The Girl Next Door, The Bold and the Beautiful, General Hospital, and All My Children. And Trent is known for Disney's Andy Mack, Netflix Army of Thieves, and Fox's New Girl. So thank you both for being here today. Please take a few minutes to tell the listening audience a little bit about yourselves.
Age before beauty,
First
Jacob.
of all, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your podcast.
Thank you for joining me.
It's just a privilege to be here with you and, of course, celebrating Hampton City Schools. So a little bit about myself. Yeah, I mean, you kind of covered a lot of it right there in the bio, but it's been wonderful. I've had a wonderful career, and the fact of the matter is that from my career's point of view, I can't take it with me, so I want to continue to share it, and to be able to share it with youth is my absolute 100% goal for the rest of my life.
Part of that legacy as well. Before we have Trent chime in, I just want to tell the listening audience, my family and I were big fans of All My Children. So we've been knowing Jacob Young and been in our households for years up until the time All My Children went off air. But big fans of your work as well.
Oh, thank you.
Trent?
Trent Garrett, native of Hampton. My dad was a crabber. His dad was a crabber. I think his dad was a crabber. I got deep roots in this place, and I went out to L.A. when I was 19 with $500 in my pocket and a Buick LeSabre. And after about 3 years
Sweet car.
Thanks, man. After about 3 years of couch surfing, I started to get a little bit of work, a little bit more. And since meeting Jacob on the set of All My Children, I was there for the last 2 years, did about 90 episodes. And, I've had a fantastic TV and film career that, God willing, will just keep evolving and
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we met then, and I can't get rid of him.
You two act like brothers, though, like you've been knowing each other all your lives. It's a great working relationship, and I know you all have established a bond that will be for a lifetime.
Yes, sir.
And we certainly appreciate all that you have done and will continue to do for our young people in Hampton City Schools as well. So let's get into some conversation. How did Next Generation Storytellers come alive? And why the investment in our young people?
So, Jacob and I, coming from not big cities, Hampton Road's big, but, at least in my experience, it was so far removed from Hollywood, not just geographically, but to get there, and not just to get there, but to break through to such a notoriously difficult industry to break into. You couldn't not be there, essentially, when I started. And one of the positives that came from COVID is that the whole infrastructure of the entertainment industry was dismantled and everything became virtual, and not just in Hollywood, but in the education system. Kids weren't going to class and going to school. Everyone had to learn quickly Zoom and Google Meets and all of these virtual platforms. So for the first time ever, most of the populace was educated, in this digital platform. And so for the first time, we saw a pathway to connect the Hollywood industry to our hometowns, to give these young kids a better shot at it than we had. And not just that, but it's just, movies are magic. We all love them. We all have our favorites. And, you're able to transport outside of yourself, and you see yourself and parts of yourself and other people. And it's very therapeutic. It's very fun and exciting. And, we've seen that it's not just the students, but, the teachers, the faculty, the community, it's just like, it breathes life into my
Bringing
world.
Bringing it all together. Yeah. And I think it's even more impactful for you in that it's your hometown you're
Yes,
doing
sir.
this in as well.
Yes, sir.
So we appreciate you bringing Hollywood to Hampton.
Yeah. definitely.
Anything you want to add to that, Jacob?
Yeah, well, growing up in a very, very small town in poverty in Oregon, my escapism was the arts. It was being in theater. It was being in choir. It was having the opportunity to get away from the problems in real life, and I could pretend to be somebody else. But I think most importantly, that feeling that I got obviously translated to television and the big screen. And I wanted to have that opportunity to share that with students that think, wow, it's just so unreachable. Like that dream is not a reality, when in fact it is. It's an absolute reality. It just needs a little bit of nourishment.
Right. And then for them to have direct contact with you all and see this can actually happen. I'm a regular human being. I made it happen. You too can make it happen. What we try to also instill in young people is to look beyond just the acting aspect of the work and look at what the industry provides. So I'm sure you all have talked to our young people about the different aspects and what they can get involved in aside from acting. So you want to talk a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many jobs on a film set. If you're into carpentry, we need sets built. Electrical, communications,
transportation, hair and makeup,
hospitality.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's also why we really love that academy model, because you're doing that. And now we can provide a cool way to implement all the infrastructure that y'all are doing, with the academies of Hampton. And it was almost like it was set up for this.
Absolutely. And listening to young people talk about the writing aspect of the work too, and particularly, I think I did a podcast with a young person over at Kickingham in the Performing Arts Academy, and she talked about the passion she had for writing plays and writing scripts for acting, and how much involved she had gotten into that. And based on the Next Generation Storytellers, she was able to build upon that and the experiences that you all provided for her as well. So we've opened some doors in minds of young people, and we know what the arts can do in terms of that creativity aspect too.
Yeah.
So explain how you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Trent.
I was also just going to add on to that, and also what they're capable of.
Yes.
Because writing something down on the page and then see it in a movie theater.
Absolutely.
Bringing that to life.
Making it come to life. Absolutely. Yeah. So explain how your partnership with Hampton City Schools and the academies of Hampton began.
Well, Trent, I think that's your cue, because you have the roots here.
Yeah. I don't know what y'all do in Tillamook, but do a couple things different over here.
Well, we milk cows in Tillamook.
So when we had this idea, bringing Hollywood to hometowns, instantly, I said, okay, Hampton has to be the first place, because it is such a unique. Not just the fact that it's my hometown. I really love this area. The quality of living here is just, it's thriving. And I feel like there's been a level of neglect over the number of years, but it has all the goods. You got the water, you got the mountains, you got the history you can't recreate without spending $10 million on CGI, but it's not the real thing. So it just has such diversity. And the people reflect that. And so instantly, Jacob's like, how about Tillamook? I'm like, how about no? No, I'm kidding.
I never offered that
up. It's true. he keeps making fun of your hometown.
Oh, I know.
Hey, they got cheese.
That's not going to be the only thing he's going to make fun of during this podcast.
You can't keep letting him get away with that,
Jake. Yeah. So, my dad, Trent Garrett, has, he's really instilled in me his values and love for the community. I've seen that in him, and the people that he talks to and the lives that are affected by that passion and love for a community. And it's infectious. I mean,
Absolutely. Yes, yes.
And so I had that instilled in me, and my personal journey and experience, it was a no-brainer. And then with the academies of Hampton and with the academy model, there were probably like 20 different dominoes. Each one had to hit the other one. And if one of them wasn't there, it may have been very challenging to make this happen. But the support that Academies of Hampton And you and everyone else that's been involved, Jen Oliver, Dr. Kate Maxlow, everyone that's been involved in this, it takes an army, just like a film set.
It does. But the passion that's here,
The
like
passion.
you mentioned, the diversity, it's rather infectious, and there's a lot of pride that goes with being a Hamptonian as well.
Yes, sir.
Well, the one thing I can speak to about Hampton is the dedication of all the staff members. You see that when you go into your schools. When we meet those students, they're dedicated. The teachers are amazing. I mean, I just wish there were more schools out there across America that could shine like Hampton City schools do. So it speaks volumes to the great works that you're doing.
Every single place we go into, I'm like, oh, how did we not have this when we were kids? I mean, it's just so much bigger and better, and y'all are doing such a good job to provide opportunities that neither of us had when we were kids. And I mean, I'm like, y'all are lucky. I mean, it's incredible.
Absolutely. And it's just listening to what you two have just shared, and we mentioned Greg Garrett, your father. He's a part of our steering committee with the Academies of Hampton. So we know that this work in transforming teaching and learning cannot be done in isolation. And we've adopted this mantra of one community, one transformation, because we know we need to make certain we involve all stakeholders in ensuring that we're going to be doing something that's very impactful to the lives of young people, and that we're going to keep our commitment to them graduating the portrait of a Hampton graduate, being college, career, and life ready. It takes the entire community working together in the same direction. So can't say enough about how fortunate we are to have like our city council members, our city manager, our business leaders and business partners, and folks like Greg Garrett working along with us and being ambassadors of this work as well, and further and making certain that we strengthen what we already have in place and even take it to the next level. So we're very fortunate to have you two working alongside us and providing these experiences to our young people that they may not have ever gotten had you all not come in and put in place what you have in place for us now. So can't say thank you enough for the two of you, and we're looking forward to your work with us in many years to come. So walk me through last year and your work with the academies and our students, like the Mystery Gala, short films, the film festival. What did that entail?
Well, last year was an adventure because it was our first year, doing this. And of course we started, had started the program, the virtual curriculum, but in the meantime, we also worked on the Mystery Gala, and with Dr. Kate Maxlow. So we got to know some of the students pretty regularly. And a lot of those students were also students that were involved in the short films. But as far as what we have been able to establish and continue to create is this curriculum just continues to refine itself, and it's becoming stronger. And this year, speaking to that, it's the screenwriting has been absolutely exceptional. The scripts that are coming out of these young minds are blowing me away. It's absolutely been it's been such a great ride.
And then just speaking to the short films themselves, I mean, it's 24 weeks of virtual curriculum. We always do a couple site visits. We really want to create that human connection so that when we are virtual, there's a stronger connection. Like we've shaken hands, we've taken some pictures, got some laughs, and that energy carries through virtually. And then, I mean, the filmmaking itself, oh man, I mean, it's controlled chaos in like the best, most exciting possible way. And just that whole experience through, and then you have the festival. I mean, for 3 months, Jacob and I are in post-production going back and forth and going through the edits and, finding composers, writing original soundtrack for these kids' films. And then, I mean, the festival, there were moments where I'm just like, my mouth is open. I'm like in tears. I'm like, what is happening right now? Just the faces and the excitement, and everyone's dressed up. And it is like the most magical experience that I've ever experienced in my career, that I've created something, and it felt bigger than just making a movie. It felt bigger than being on a TV show. And I think that's that experience was completely shared and amplified.
Seeing it come all together, though,
Yeah.
and you look at it from the perspective of where you started, and then there were some growing pains, and like you mentioned, some controlled chaos and all of that, and then the masterpiece coming together and looking at how young people sort of liven up just based on, hey, I was a part of creating this magic, and I did this in collaboration and working with folks from Hollywood and some producers and what have you.
And getting awards and cash prizes.
Yes.
And of course, you know,
IMDb credits.
Our Black Magic Design sponsorship camera gave the winning director a 6K Pocket Pro $3,600 camera for free, brand new in the box.
Wow.
But it speaks volumes to the program and what that means. And not to mention, we were talking about the process. You know, pre-production, you know, we're in pre-production getting ready to shoot with y'all. And we are doing, you know, we're working on hiring, you know, some really fantastic, not only students to be there, but some locals in Virginia and hopefully more in this Hampton Roads area, which we're really trying to find. We were just not too long ago, now that this is May, not too long ago, we were over at the Black Film Festival, Trent, and made some great contacts at Hampton University. So bringing in those professionals to mentor those kids, those young people on set is super important.
Yeah, we're trying to bridge any gap that there might be moving forward to create sustainability and job opportunities for a future in this, if anyone wishes to be like Hampton University. We want to create if you want to go to secondary school, we're going to fight for some scholarship opportunities. You know, this isn't just, you know, if you want to be in the film industry, we're connected with the Film Commission. On our judging panel for the movies, we have a talent agent that has signed a couple of our kids, and they're auditioning right now for movies and TV. Wow.
That's exciting.
And by the way, the movies, they're incredible. I was like,
yes, they are.
I really hope that they're like...
You know, Trent told me that he'd never received an award before.
That's true.
So he went ahead and made himself an award.
I did.
What was the award, Trent, that you made for yourself?
Best Picture.
Nice.
The only singular award I've ever won was a coloring contest in second grade. I painted a scarecrow, and it was amazing. And I've been on shows that have received awards, but I've never actually won anything. I'm like, I've done a lot. I've just never, I don't know what's going on. I need to hang around Jacob a little more. 7-time nominee, who's counting?
But all that you all are doing for our community, it just speaks volumes to us coming together as well. Can't say enough about the work that Dr. Maxlow does and the curriculum and instruction umbrella and the work with the innovation and digital learning aspect of the work as well. So we know it takes the entire division and looking at where we are with our young people, where we want to be, and exposing them to it as many industry aspects as we can to ensure that they are once again college, career, and life ready. So we know it's May. What are you all working on now?
Oh, man. Well, we just got back from Prague.
Yeah.
Directing a full-length feature with Joan Collins.
Joan Collins.
Yeah. Toby Alexander Smith. There was a castle that was rented, and
wow.
I mean, so you know, we're looking to place that on streaming platforms, and I mean, not to mention many films that we're going to be making with the Hampton Roads.
Yeah.
So it is. I mean, it's you never have enough time.
You're right.
We do have one short film we're doing with Charleston Schools down in Charleston, South Carolina. And that's coming up the 18th and 19th of May.
Okay. Very similar to what you all have set up here in Hampton, or?
Yeah, but you guys are all front burners. You guys went ahead and took the initiative first. Now everybody wants to copy you.
That's great. That's great. We will be the trailblazers.
Trailblazers, role models. Yes.
So I look at this in terms of what we've already done collectively. I would imagine it has generated a whole lot more interest and excitement from young people who did not take advantage of it the first time. Are you all hearing about that? More students wanting to be involved in this work?
Yes, sir.
They're asking a lot more questions, the ones that weren't involved. I think last year, being that it was the rollout, the soft rollout, so to speak, that they didn't know what to expect. And now that they've heard their fellow friends talk about their experience, they are just amped to be a part of it this year. And I'm telling you, the screenplays that are coming out, I know I mentioned it before, but it just blows my mind. It just feels like young people have so much to say. And I think, I don't want to say we take them for granted, but we also go, you got a lot of growing to do. But I find also that the older you get, like my age,
Pretty old.
sometimes that spark or that idea, that creativeness, it is Jacob Young, by the way.
That's what you say.
That creativeness can sometimes fall off a little bit.
Yes.
Your imagination is not as bright. And so the ideas that are coming out of these young people, I've seen the best writers out there not write this well. So I'm telling you, these films could end up all over the world.
Wow. So just them having building that confidence and having that free expression and that being exposed to the arts as a whole allows them to actually open their minds and imaginations to things that we are often wild about. So
Yeah.
we're looking forward to the great things they will continue to produce under you all's leadership and tutelage as well.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of confidence, there was multiple times, but just one that I'll speak on. That Jacob was actually there for that. With Bethel High School, we shot a film called Fear the Fog, and there was this young lady that was an actor on that set, and she started off very just kind of in the back, very, very quiet. She would say, I would say a joke, and when she laughed, she would kind of cover her mouth, very, very, very reserved. And there was this one scene where she had to get really loud and scream. It was a thriller. And in that moment, she wasn't really giving herself permission to really go there. And we did it a few times. We're like, clock's ticking. We gotta move on. I was like, nah, just one more time. And I asked the cameras to shut off, and I went down to the hall where she was being shot and I filmed. And so I just told her, I was like, look, this is it. This is your moment. You gotta let it all out. This is it. This is your moment. Just give yourself permission. Allow yourself to just go there. And that is the best scene in the movie. She just,
opened up.
She opened up. And at the very end, when we called wrap, it was the last day, we clapped for everyone at the end and say, that's a wrap, Fear the Fog, Bethel High School, and everyone's, and I go to her, and she's just kind of looking down at the floor after opening up. I'm like, what's wrong? And she looks up to me, and she has tears in her eyes, and she said, I don't want this to end. And I give her a big hug, and it was just like, that's what this is about. Wow. And it was just.
But see her come alive and come out of her
man.
shell like that.
Oh.
That had to give you a wow moment as well.
Yeah, 100%.
So, what has been the most rewarding part of this experience for you all?
This podcast.
Yes.
Good answer. Great answer.
Honestly, just changing lives. Seriously, there's so much that can be done through film and storytelling that we can see, just like what Trent was talking about. We see this transformation in students that might be great at making good grades, but as far as being able to publicly speak or put themselves out there, this is giving them that opportunity. And
work as a team,
which you just took the words right out of my mouth, because a set is very militant in a lot of ways because it has to be structured. And if one person is not doing their job, the whole house of cards will fall. And if they can learn to work as a team in this way and follow instructions, they can do that in any field.
You're right. Those are life skills. They can get applied anywhere, any place. How about you, Trent? What has been the most rewarding part of this experience for you?
I'm a little biased because I'm from here, and I wish that something like this existed. So I'm like, yeah, Hampton. See, I told all you guys.
I thought you were going to say hanging out with your best friend and working with him.
Oh, Dr. Haynes? I'm hanging out right now. Yeah, but
Go at it all day. Huh?
All day. Flying home tomorrow, thank goodness. I like those moments, that moment that I explained about that student, seeing, like Jacob was saying, that transformation, but not just on paper, not just hearing about it, or seeing hearing about the ripple effect and check in every once in a while, but like really being able to see that happen over 3 days of filming and see all of those kids that just they open up and they bloom, and I'm like, man, if everyone had this opportunity, like how much better would the world be? Like giving this opportunity. And so really for me, which I also think is selfishly, because like it's I don't know, it's
infectious.
Really seeing that in front of your eyes is just something I've never experienced.
And it's part of a legacy the two of you will leave behind as well. And hopefully folks will take this to even higher levels altogether.
Yes, sir.
So what are your long-term plans for Next Generation Storytellers?
Well, to truly do what Trent said, move across this great nation, reach out to communities that are unrepresented, giving them opportunities to know that this is a viable career path. And again, I always say this, but teaching them to dream and follow those dreams.
Yeah, I mean, I could say it a little bit better, but no, I'm kidding.
All day.
All day.
It never stops.
Yeah, for me, I mean, like Jacob said, the more impact that we can have is the goal, and wherever that leads us, I think it's really important to give opportunity where there's not so much, and it really makes kids feel seen, it makes them feel heard, and it makes them feel valued, and that builds that confidence. And then guess what? All those kids, they're going to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
They're going to do the same thing.
Paying it forward. Yeah.
And another piece of what Next Generation Storytellers is working on, because we shot a docuseries behind the scenes while we were shooting the films. We are currently in talks with PBS, Apple TV, and Disney Plus to run that docuseries, and not to only do that, but to start streaming the films so they'll live on forever. And we really love the idea of working with a production house like PBS, because to have the money from the public go back to the public is a really wonderful thing. And it's sustainable. I mean, if you've ever watched PBS, some of those shows have been on for 20, 30 years.
Absolutely.
So we're hoping that we can get a distribution company that will be behind it for at least that long.
Exciting things to come. Looking forward to it. So as we wrap up, is there anything else you all would like to share with the listening audience?
I know that you can't tell on this podcast, but Jacob Young is pretty short.
Oh, Trent.
I had to throw it in somewhere. I mean, it's just any opportunity. You really set me up,
Well, if you listen to this podcast, I'm average. I'm not that
short. He really isn't true. You're just tall.
That's true. That's true. I'm the problem. No, we're so happy to be here, and we love you like a brother, and appreciate all the love that Hampton gives us,
sir.
and
I love
the people
you both
that
as well. Yes,
yeah, that's just. I mean, the support is just. We couldn't do it without you, and we couldn't do it without the opening arms of Hampton. And just couldn't be more proud as a Hamptonian.
Yes, sir.
So
we have officially adopted
Jacob.
Yes, into being a Hamptonian. He is a
half
Hamptonian.
price.
Well, Greg Garrett has also adopted me. He always calls me, and he's like, "This is my son, and this is my other son."
Yeah. He makes him call him Pops. As I'm sure you could hear him say that.
Yes, I could see that. Well, I certainly had a good time talking with you all today, and thank you for joining me, and thank you for your investment in our students. It's definitely an exciting time in Hampton City Schools, and we know there are more great things to come.
Yes, sir. And next time you're on our podcast.
Yes, we will make that happen.
All
I just
right.
have to get with Miss Goral, and she will keep me straight on what to say and what not to say.
Oh, it's okay.
Well,
no
it is,
rules.
It is called Real Conversations with Jake and Trent.
Yes, but I have to come back here.
I do too.
All right. And to our listeners, remember, education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. As one community, one transformation, we will ensure academic excellence for every child, every day, whatever it takes. Until next time.
Listen to learn more about Hampton City Schools. New episodes of HCS Talks drop on Thursdays. Subscribe and listen to HCS Talks. HCS Talks is a Hampton City Schools production.